Okay, let's start the stream. I am going to do an audio check. See that it is working. Is not test. Can't tell. Well, we're just going to have to do this the hard way. So, the topic today is faith. Not actually something I know much about. Scientist, engineer, atheist, that's how I roll. But I run into it a lot. And I don't really care what people believe. People, honestly, people can believe anything they want. They can think the earth is flat. They can think 10 angels can dance on the head of a pin, or maybe 9. I don't really care. I won't argue about it. People believe whatever they want to believe. And the only time faith gets in the way is, I think, when people are confronted with reality. Reality is real. I guess I have to explain reality. Reality is phenomena. What are phenomena? Clouds in the sky. The sky is blue. The wind blows one way one day and it blows another way another day. There are earthquakes and hurricanes. There are floods and landslides. There are invading armies. Sometimes you have a famine and you run out of food. Sometimes you have a great harvest and you have a bumper and you can store it for later on. This is all reality. Now, some people think they can have control of reality through, prayer, sacrificing to the gods, witchcraft, voodoo, all kinds of things that they can influence reality. They can bring in a better crop. They can bring themselves good luck. They can throw a curse on their neighbor. They can have heavenly divine intervention intercede on their behalf with their personal finances and a bunch of other things. So sometimes that works. I mean, sometimes you do something with voodoo and then your neighbor drops dead. Okay. Is there a causal relationship there? Maybe, probably not, right? But correlation is not causation. So people believe all kinds of things, and we have enormous belief systems that have spanned the continents and the centuries. There are more ways to believe than you can possibly imagine. And I extend belief systems to beyond religion or spirituality. Economics is a belief system. The very notion of money, that a piece of paper, green, blue, purple, whatever color it is, a piece of paper is worth something or has meaning. That's just an article of faith. And of course, it's also an agreement between you and your vendor. If you want to buy a sandwich at a sandwich shop, you go in there with your money or your credit card or your Bitcoin or whatever, and there's an agreement between the two of you that his sandwich, which is real, is worth the thing you're about to hand him, a credit card swipe or a piece of paper that has some monetary value according to the government. There's an article of faith there. His sandwich is real. You went in there to buy a sandwich. You're expecting to eat the sandwich. The sandwich is a real thing. But the entire transaction is an article of faith. Did you just print that $20 bill this morning on your color printer? Are you doing financial fraud with somebody else's credit card? There's an article of faith that this is going to work out. So faith isn't just religious or spiritual or something like that. It's also economics. Another realm of faith is politics. People believe all kinds of things that have their origins in politics. Various isms of all kinds, right? People believe in communism, socialism, libertarianism, to various parties. There's a Democrat Party, there's a Republican Party, there's a whatever party that exists in other parts of the world. They believe their government has some kind of meaning. That if you elect people who say they're going to do something, then they will do it, or at least they'll try. Or if they don't do it, you can hold them accountable. There's a reality to politics, like you did put someone in power over you. They are going to do things either to you or on your behalf. But the rest of it is just belief. Will this person do the thing they said? Will this person do the thing I want? And there's a certain transaction to it that is not based in reality. And people get frustrated with politics. Oh, and by the way, people get frustrated with economics. And people get frustrated with religion. Sometimes our religious leaders are just not all they're cooked up to be. And they're not even entirely what they claim to be. There is great evil done in the name of economics. There is great evil done in the name of politics and political positioning. And of course, we all know from examples in the real world, there's evil done in the name of religion. All religions, there's no exceptions. So there's a lot of things that people believe. And you can think whatever you like. And you can make whatever deals you want with your politicians and your economists and your religious figures. But in the end, despite whatever deal you made or whatever promise they were going to keep or whatever you thought you were going to get out of that, everything eventually runs up against reality. Reality is real. Reality is the world outside of your belief system. Some people think that their belief system is real. Well, by definition, it's not. It's something you believe. Yeah, you don't have to believe in lightning. Lightning is its own thing. And just because you don't believe in lightning, you think lightning is fake or it's a hoax, you can still be struck by lightning. You don't have to believe in earthquakes. The earthquakes are made up, or the earthquakes are caused by aliens from space, or the Russians, or the Chinese, or the U.S. government, you with HARP or something like that. You can have all these beliefs, and yet when an earthquake hits, it's going to be real. And the idea that you could maybe change your government or get rid of bad people, that's not going to stop the earthquakes, because they're not the ones causing the earthquakes. The earthquakes are real. Plate tectonics, right? Instabilities in the Earth's crust, fractures and movements of magma below the crust, and a bunch of other things will cause an earthquake. The earthquakes are real. And all the phenomena of the Earth that causes earthquakes and lightning and sandstorms and torrential rains and hail and everything else is all real. It's all real. And behind all these real things is physics. Physics. The reason that a mountain comes crumbling down and takes out a city or takes out a village, washes it all down into the river and buries it under mud, the reason that happens is because of gravity. Just because the mountainside was okay for the last 10, 20, 50, 100 years, one day it's not. And the reason it's not isn't because of God, it's because of gravity. We're always up against reality. Whatever you may think, whatever you may want to be true, it's always going to have to reconcile itself eventually with reality. Reality is backed by physics, natural laws, things that happen, phenomena. Now on this channel I talk a lot about global heating, and I have written a book called It Was 100 Days, about what happens to a group of people when the wheels come off due to many factors, but one of them is, of course, the collapse of the Earth dynamic system around their head. And one of the things that happens in the book is that people must confront reality. Some of them do that better than others. The reason I wrote the book was to explore what happens when reality imposes itself. Now, it's a book of fiction, but because of who I am, it's based in science. It is therefore speculative science. It's not science fiction. It's speculative science. You could take issue with the speculation. You could say I'm wrong, but at least in the writing of the story, I am trying to slice as close as I can to the edge of reality. Predictions, understanding of the Earth system, understanding of global heating, and all the realities behind what is coming our way, because we're in trouble. We are in big trouble. I was just on a live stream, not here, someone else's live stream, and we were talking. It was only like there was two of us in the live stream, other people listening, but just the two of us in the live stream, and we were talking. And I was asked, so what's going on in the news? What have you noticed? And I pointed out that the nation of Iran, formerly known as Persia, they've been around a long time. Iran has been around a long time. They go back before. They fought with the Egyptians, okay? They fought with the pharaohs. Persia has been around a long time. And I was mentioning that Tehran, their capital, they have like maybe two large cities, and one of them is the capital, and Tehran, has run out of water. That's the headline. They run out of water. Where'd the water go? Was it squandered? Was it sold? Was it improperly used? Probably all of the above, right? Anyway, they ran out of water. So now Tehran is probably going to have to shut down. It's the capital city, right? Some 8 million people live in the city, and then there's, of course, a larger metropolitan area, and that's probably another 8 million live in that area. So they're all out of water. Turn the tap on, squeak, nothing comes out. That's hard to believe. That's hard to imagine. That doesn't even make any sense. Iran has a nuclear program. Iran is a oil exporting country. In theory, they got a lot of money. They got a lot of technology. They have a lot of engineers. If they have a nuclear program, they have engineers. Right? They're a modern country. Persia was always a top tier empire. And now they've run out of water. And this has happened suddenly. I don't know how often Iran ran out of water in the past. My guess is never. But now, because of some drought, some other conditions, they ran out of water. So I was in this live stream today, and I was talking about just this reality. I mean, we're all going to have to face it because this is happening in the world, that Iran, or at least the Tehran, the capital city of Iran, has run out of water. And they're going to have to evacuate, so that's 15 million people. 15 million people. Million with an M. 15 million people are going to have to figure out how to survive. And you can't survive more than a few days without water. You can do okay without food. If you have small children, then you run the risk of long-term damage to your children, stunting their growth or stunting their mental development from malnutrition. But you can at least not die. But without water, you die pretty quickly, like a few days. So this is their reality now. It's real. That's happening. I didn't make that up. That's not speculative fiction. That's not me throwing shade at the Iranians. That's their story. That's what they're telling us. They have run out of water. And I don't know that they're expecting anyone to bring them water. Water's heavy. You need a lot of it. 15 million people need a gallon per person every single day. That's 15 million gallons every single day. That not only has to be brought into the country somehow from somewhere, like how? Pipelines? If they had a pipeline, they would be using it, right? So they don't have a pipeline. So they're going to have to fly it in with jets. They're not doing anything for themselves right now. So now we're going to have to do something new. So we're going to fly in 15 million gallons a day, daily, of water for 15 million people. That's a gallon a day each. And then they're going to have to distribute it. So you need hundreds of thousands of trucks burning millions of gallons of diesel daily to put all this bottled water on and send it out into the... It's just not going to happen. And so I was saying that on this live stream. I was saying, look, you want a headline? Let's talk about some headlines. And so we talked about that. And people were like, really? I hadn't heard anything about that. Yeah, not surprised. Really? How can they be running out of water? I don't know. It's usual reasons, right? mismanagement, corruption, everything. All of it happened at once. And of course, they didn't get any rain. The corruption would have been fine, and even the mismanagement would have been fine if it had been raining, but it hasn't been raining. Why is it not raining? Let's see. Scratch my head. I wonder why. Well, could it be global heating? We do talk about global heating and climate change, so maybe they just aren't going to get any more water. They don't have any now. It hasn't rained even a measurable amount in years, and so they're in trouble. They're done. Really, for practical purposes, they are done. And I'll tell you this, when I was saying that they're done, and everybody was like, hold on, they can drink their own urine. Really? This is what I have to deal with, okay? They can drink their own urine. They can drink each other's urine. And they could catch rainwater. Look, the reason there's no water is because it hasn't rained. They could catch dew in the morning. Maybe if they lived in Ireland, okay, or the Hawaiian Islands, maybe they'd have some dew in the morning. That's their problem. They don't have any moisture. They don't have any water. So it went on and on like this. And then when I was telling people, look, you think there's a solution to this, but there isn't. You believe in progress. You think every problem has a solution. There isn't one. And you can prognosticate that someone will solve it, someone will fix it, and then you can go on about your busy life and just, watch your baseball game in the afternoon or go down to the pub and drink yourself blind or whatever you want to do. But no, they're not solving this problem. Iran is an oil exporting country. In theory, they have a lot of money. They have a lot of engineers. They have a nuclear program. They make missiles and drones for Russia to lob at Ukraine. Okay, Iran is no slouch. And they're not solving this problem. Maybe they don't want to. Or maybe they can't. And so that's all I was saying. This is a problem. This is in the headlines. 15 million people are going to have to find water. Oh, and by the way, they have to do it by tomorrow. And are the nations of the world flying 15 million gallons daily? Daily. Not once, not twice, not three times. Daily. Are the nations of the world flying 15 million gallons daily into Tehran to be distributed somehow to 15 million people daily? No, they're not. No one's doing that. And the pushback I got was, well, you're just being negative. No, that's the truth. Well, I don't want to hear it. Well, that's what's happening. So you just don't care? No, you're a conspirator. You were hired to make us feel bad. You're hired to make us afraid. No, that's what's happening. That's in the headlines. Now, if you want to, if it's fearful to you, if this is scary, be afraid. If you're worried that this could come for you someday, and that, again, just as happened in Iran, your government won't care and they won't save you, and that's unnerving for you a little bit, then become unnerved. But I'm not making this up. This is reality. And you're having a problem with reality? I wonder why. Why? Why do you have this relationship with reality that you just don't care? And I think that what it is that people are bound up in faith. And it's all kinds of faith. It's not just church faith and here I have a Catholic church. It's not just churchy faith. It's also faith in economics, faith in politics, faith in money, faith in wealth, faith in progress, faith in science, even possibly, right? That someone will figure it out. Faith that this can't be happening. A belief that this just cannot be happening. But it is. It's in the headlines. But I don't believe it. Therefore, you must be a bad person. bringing terrible news that you've made up. And it's like, no, that's not what's happening here. So I come on this channel all the time, right? You know the drill. I know the drill. I come on here all the time. And I say scary things. And I'll say things like, this is a bit of speculation, but it's not out of the question that 999 people out of 1,000 will die because of global heating. It's speculation, but it's in the ballpark. And then we hear about Iran. 15 million people just ran out of water. And how long can you live without water? Let's see. Let me check my calendar. Oh, tomorrow. So what happens when 15 million people have no water, nowhere to go where there's water, and no way to get there? Oh, they can drink their own urine. Thank you. That's not helpful, okay? Let's just go back and ask the question again, shall we? And this time, let's not be an asshole about it. What are they going to do? They're going to die, is what they're going to do. They're going to wander out of the city, which is the only place where anything exists. Electricity, food, whatever water there can possibly be ever, right? Medicine, legal enforcement of the laws, whatever those are, right? So therefore, some security. Your home, your clothing, your possessions, your whole life is there in the city or in the larger urban area. You are one of the 15 million. And now what are you going to do? You're going to leave. You're going to leave because there's no water. And when you leave and you're out on the road, do you find water? No, you don't. Are you going to a place where there's water? Maybe. Will they let you stay? Will they let you in the city gates? Maybe. What if they don't? Then you haven't gone any place where there's water. What are these people going to do? I don't know. Well, yes, in fact, I do know what they're going to do. They're going to die. If they can't figure this out, or if their government can't help them figure this out, or if the cities that they come to that still have water don't open the gates. There are so many ways this could go wrong, and maybe a few ways it can go right. Maybe one way it can go right. The only way this works for them is they get out of Tehran. They go the distance, perhaps in their private vehicle, and they get to a place that welcomes them and gives them water. That's the only way this works. And if they don't have a car, or they don't have fuel, or the car doesn't run, or the car breaks down, or they're simply too poor to even have one, then they die. And that's scary. And that's wrong. Iran has a nuclear program. Iran makes missiles and sells them to foreign countries. Iran exports crude oil. They make money from crude oil sales. They can't save their own people. Iran didn't manage the water. Iran was corrupt with the water. Iran knew that they were in a drought and they just mismanaged the water. And they condemned, I'll just say it, I'll say it right here, 15 million people to death from dehydration. They did that. Did they deliberately do that? Let's just imagine there was nobody at the top of the Iranian government rubbing their hands in glee. They're going to die. I can't wait to see the corpses in the streets. Okay, let's imagine that wasn't the case. Let's just imagine, and I'm sure it wasn't the case. Okay, let's just go out there. Let's just go there. Let's just imagine there was nobody at the top of the government rubbing their hands in gleeful greed that they got all the water. It's like a Disney villain, right? They got all the water and they sold it and they made money. Let's just imagine there's no one at the top doing that. So what are they doing? They just got their head up their ass. They're more worried about the Israelis. They're more worried about their nuclear program, and they're selling missiles, and they're selling oil, and they're watching the money come in, and they're just paying attention to money. And then they go and they go to the mosque, and then they go to the market, and then they go to the brothel, and they do all the other things. And they're organizing their troops, and they're parading their troops up and down the streets, and parading the tanks, and flying the jets overhead, trying to make a point. And they're doing all that, and then one day they run out of water. Wait, did that just happen? Hold on. Did we just run out of water? Why? How did we run out of water? Why didn't someone tell me? Well, you were too busy parading the troops and sending the missiles and bombing Israel. You were too busy doing all that to notice you were running out of water. Maybe that's how it happened. But it doesn't matter. Because without water, these people die. And if they have to leave the city, which probably is the only source of water in the immediate area, if they do have to leave the city, because there's not enough for everybody, there's enough for some, but not enough for everybody, and the people who aren't going to get any already know who they are, right? They've run out, and they're going to have to leave. And maybe they have a car, maybe they don't. Maybe there's a bus, maybe there isn't. Maybe there's a bus, but there's 8,000 people want to be on that bus. 8,000 people is not a lot of people when you got 15 million people, okay? Maybe there's 8,000 people at the bus station trying to get on the bus headed out of town. And you got 15 more million people to get out of town. They die. You don't like that? Suck it up, Buttercup. That's happening. That's a thing. Now, will the Iranian government pull a rabbit out of the hat and find a way to save these people? Will they give everybody 2 or 3 gallons of water and then send them out of town to go to various cities to find more water? Will they have maps of cities that have water? Will they work with the cities and tell the cities, hey, we got 15 million people headed your way, to your farm and to your town and your village and your city. We got 15 million people that need water, and we're sending them your way, and you better let them in. You better find housing for them. It's 15 million people, but still, you better find some way to put them up. You better find water for them and food and everything else, because they're coming. Isn't the government going to do that? Do you think the government of Iran is going to do that? Do you think they're going to coordinate that whole thing with all these other cities? And for 15 million people, you think the Iranian government's going to do that? Well, given their track record up to now, no, they're not. And that's just the facts, people. And, maybe I'm a fearmonger, and I'm saying scary things, and I'm trying to boost my subscribership. Oh, by the way, this kind of content doesn't do very well with the algorithm. So if you want to make sure that you're not the only one getting your scared out of your boots, then be sure to subscribe and put a like on the video. And maybe the corporate media will catch a clue. Now, I'm not here to cap on the Iranian government. I'm here to make a different point. That when I was simply stating the headlines for this other group chat, saying, well, you want some headlines? Here's a headline for you. And they were genuinely not aware, okay? When I was doing that, I was basically accused of lying. They don't believe it. People do not have a working relationship with reality. Now, that's what I'm here to correct. I am here to bridge the gap between my listeners, my subscribers, and reality. I'm the only chance you've got. I am the only one who's going to explain this shit to you. I'm it. This is it. You're looking at it. I've been all over the internet. I've been all over YouTube. I've been all over everything. And every time I think someone's going to come clean with people, they always screw it up. They screw it up. And they end up saying something that isn't the truth, or is a half-truth, or they completely missed the entire truth of it. And when I'm telling you that 15 million people trying to get out of Tehran, trying to find water, ain't going to work, that's the truth. That's just how it's going to be, folks. And when I come on here and I tell you that when global heating really hits and really socks it to you, and it's doing the thing that it's going to do because it's physics, and it's just mindless and stupid, and it has no choice but to be real, that physics doesn't care what you think, and physics isn't going to rain on you and bring you all the water you need. And when you hit the road and your car runs out of gas and now you're walking and you have no water, and it's been 3 days and you ran out of water and you start to get dizzy and you drop dead, yeah, that's physics. Now, you can't wish yourself on a lucky rabbit's foot and wish your way out of that. That's your reality. With an emphasis on reality. That's your reality. It's real. This shit's real. You may think it doesn't affect you. For all I know, it doesn't affect you. Maybe you got a lot of money and it won't affect you. Even when it affects you, it won't affect you. You got money. And there'll be people all over Iran that will get out of the country and you get on their private jet and spend the money for fuel and get out of their country and go to the UK or go to Cincinnati or wherever. Get off the plane and get a great big glass of water. There'll be people that do that. How many people in Iran can do that right now? Don't know. Don't even want to speculate. Not many. We'll just say that. Not a lot. And this global heating fiasco is coming for everybody. It's right there in the name. It's global. And it's heating. It's going to get hot. And all the things that heat can do, because heat is real, heat is physics, all the things that heat can do, it's going to do. And it doesn't matter what you think about it. And it doesn't matter if you don't believe it. And it doesn't matter if you think it's a hoax. And it doesn't matter if Donald Trump says it's going to go away. Just watch. It's not going away. It is physics. It only goes one direction. It gets hot. And then when you think it's hot enough, it's going to get hotter. And it's going to keep doing that because of physics. Because there's nothing can stop this. There's nothing can stop this. Nothing can stop this. It's like there's nothing can stop the stampede of misery out of Tehran. Those people have to leave. And nothing can stop that. Well, that's not true. They could stay there. They could hope for the best. And if the best doesn't materialize, 15 million gallons daily, 15 million gallons daily for 15 million people, if that doesn't materialize, then their only other option is to die. That's reality. You don't have to believe it. You can think there's something else. You can think that God will come down and make it better. You can think whatever you like. But it's physics. And so far, we haven't seen any force in the human world, not from any of our abstractions, not from politics, not from economics, and not from faith. There's no thing that we can conjure up out of the phantasms of our dreams and nightmares. There's nothing we can conjure up to stop physics. It doesn't care. It's not listening. It's going to do what it has to do. The Earth is currently in an energy imbalance due to the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is natural enough, but we are enhancing the greenhouse effect by emitting excess carbon dioxide, CO2, into the atmosphere. How are we doing that? We're burning fossil fuels. Well, we can stop burning fossil fuels. No, we can't. That's reality. And anytime anybody brings it up, well, we should reduce emissions. It's like, how? Well, we should reduce fossil fuel consumption, but that would cause an economic collapse. Well, we should do something with fossil fuels. Yeah, we have to keep burning them. There's no talk about not burning fossil fuels. Everybody wants to burn fossil fuels. They want their crude oil, they want their gasoline, their natural gas, and they want their coal. And they're going to burn the fossil fuels, and they're going to keep doing it. And they're not going to stop. That's reality. Now, there's a bit of speculation there. Maybe they'll stop. Someday they'll figure it out, and they'll realize they have to do that. But for now, they believe otherwise. And when belief gets between you and reality, when your faith that someone's going to save you gets in the way of you and saving yourself, then you have a problem, my friend. And if you think there's nothing you can do, and you think there's nothing you're going to disturb about your life that's worth trying to save yourself, if you think that nothing is going to happen, then you are in a trap. And what can you do? What can you really do in the face of global heating, which is physics? What can you really do? Well, let's start with the easy things. You have money, you can get away. If you're living in Tehran right now, or probably any part of Iran, really, and you have money, you just get on a jet and you leave. And maybe you think, oh, I'll come back when things have settled down, whatever that means, right? Sweep up the mess and bury the bodies, or whatever that means. You're going to come back. Or maybe you never do. You've got money. You can probably buy your way into any economy that runs on money. Donald Trump will sell you a $5 million gold card, which he claims will give you like the keys to the city in the U.S. You can live anywhere you want to live, do anything you want to do, you're fine. I don't know if that's true. I think he'll probably sell you a $5 million gold card, and then every time he needs more money, ask you for $5 million more dollars. Oh, by the way, your gold card just expired. Well, you said it was forever. I never actually said that, and I need another $5 million. And where do you think that $5 million goes? Oh, I'll give you one guess. Who gets the $5 million? I'll give you one guess. That's right. But what other game is there? Who's going to take you in? You're Iranian. You're part of a regime that is repudiated. You sell weapons to the Russians. They're not going to let you into Ukraine or probably any part of Europe at all. You're selling weapons to the Russians. And you're selling crude oil to China. So is that going to endear you to the United States of America? Well, maybe. I mean, Trump, he'll take your $5 million. So, okay, you've got that. You got that working for you. What's your plan? And you can be almost anywhere on the planet right now. Just about anywhere. And the signs are already there. It's already happening. Iran gets to go first. But Malaysia and Thailand and Indonesia just got broken off by torrential rains. They're flooded. They're not looking really happy. They're wondering what just happened. Who else has been broken off recently? Jamaica. Oh God, don't get me started on Jamaica. That's really what started this whole thing in my head a month ago. The Jamaicans. I got nothing against Jamaicans. I don't know any Jamaicans, but I hear they're pretty laid back, right? They're cool. They're copacetic. So Hurricane Melissa was coming ashore in Jamaica. Now, there was a problem with Hurricane Melissa. As is happening these days, because of excess heat in the ocean, hurricanes are spinning up immediately, out of nowhere. Just a tiny little tropical storm, not even a tropical storm, a tropical depression, right? An unresolved low pressure center. Suddenly, it hit hot water south of Jamaica, spun the fuck up, and became a Category 5 cyclone overnight. It went from nothing to Category 5, we're all going to die in 24 hours. It did this via a process called cyclogenesis. It was defined as a bomb cyclone, because a bomb cyclone is a cyclone that there's more than one definition. The definition I hear the most is it decreases its internal barometric pressure by one part, by 24 parts in 24 hours. And that's pretty rapid intensification. Melissa was a double bomb. It decreased its central pressure by 24 parts, by 48 parts in 24 hours. A double bomb. It came out of nowhere, hit Jamaica. It was going to hit the capital city, but it veered a little bit to the west and basically took out the western half of the island. They were absolutely annihilated. I haven't heard anything about the death toll. It must have been colossal. There wasn't a single building left standing. There was storm surge. There was high winds. My wife keeps telling me she saw, we've been discussing it off and on since it happened. She tells me that she saw wind speeds of 250 miles an hour at peak. Gusts of 250 miles an hour. And then I later heard 200. 200 miles an hour, people. That's like tornado weather. That's like tornado winds. Tornadoes just can destroy a house, blow it to splinters, and then send the splinters 10 miles downwind. Tornadoes are just incredible. And Melissa apparently had winds like a tornado. And it came through, and it flattened everything. And it pulled a storm surge ashore, and it drowned everybody. And that western half of Jamaica is destroyed. That's a fact. Will they ever rebuild? Maybe, you could speculate. But right now, they're done. And I predicted in a video right here, you can go back and look it up a month or so ago. I predicted 3 days before the hurricane landed that they're finished. What's coming ashore is going to finish them. And they are finished. I was right. And I was right not because I'm brilliant. I'm right just because I was paying attention to the forecasts. But the Jamaicans were not. There was on the ground reporting, reporters talking to the people in Jamaica. And they weren't doing anything to prepare for this hurricane. And I wish I could remember quite clearly, but it was a combination of, well, we've had hurricanes before and it wasn't that bad, but also they thought that God would provide, which is an interesting take. Melissa was a double bomb cyclone. And if they were hearing that, oh, well, it's not even a category 1 and it's going to make landfall in 2 days, so it'll be maybe a category 1 or category 2. If that's what they were hearing, then they had faith in the wrong authorities. If they were going to church on Sunday and they were hearing that God will provide, then they got the wrong message from the authorities. If they were more interested in business as usual and they didn't want to close the shop because they were going to not make money that day, well, then they were listening with the wrong ear. They were listening to money. They were hearing the cash register open and close. They just got the wrong message. And then it came ashore and it destroyed everything. Now, could they have saved themselves from Hurricane Melissa? Well, they couldn't have stopped it. Did they have the resources to save their homes and their everything else? Probably not. But could they have gone into the mountains? Could they have taken their belongings with them? Could they have rescued their families and their neighbors and prepared and gotten someplace safer, higher ground, away from the buildings? Yeah, maybe they could have. Did they? No. They might have, but they didn't. Because they just didn't believe it. We have been trained for centuries that faith will cover all contingencies. That what you have to do is you have to pray. You have to make money. You have to rule the country. You have to keep control of the situation. What we keep hearing is that business as usual will provide for everything. You need to keep your job. You need to keep the money flowing. You need to worry about your people and whether they become unhinged and start to storm the Capitol. Those are the things you have to worry about. Reality takes a back seat to business as usual. Reality takes a back seat. Except that's not true. That half of Jamaica is done. They are finished. Iran is on the threshold of being finished. Now, that is a self-inflicted problem, made worse by global heating, but it's still self-inflicted. If they had thought about things differently and were more in alignment with reality, maybe they could have spared themselves this catastrophe, but they didn't. Now they're going to have to pay the piper. And this is how it's going to be with global heating. This is how it's going to be with every hurricane, every tropical storm or typhoon, every drought, every crop failure, every refugee crisis. It's going to be nothing at all. Don't worry about it. The government will take care of it. Economics are more important. If you believe it will be fine, be sure to pray, and then the calamity will fall on people's heads, and they'll be like, how did this happen? Why didn't I understand? Why didn't someone tell me? The reality was there all along. This is real. Global heating is real. It's coming for all of us, one way or another. Your way may be different than mine. Your way may be later than mine. I may have to go before you, but it's going to be something. We're all going to catch it because it's global. Mostly, it's going to get hot. And then all the things that heat can do. What can heat do to you? Well, it can cook you. It can just cook your brain in your brain pan and just kill you. You have a heat stroke. Your brain explodes and you die. That's the thing. It can also heat can also knock out the infrastructure. So the water pumps the electricity drives everything, including the water pumps. So if the electrical grid goes down in the heat, then you won't have your water delivered, and you won't have your air conditioning either because you have no power. Oh, and then you won't have food because the food in the stores will spoil, and possibly there's not even any way to get to the food in the stores. The lights are out, the cash registers aren't working. You could loot the place, I suppose, but if you loot the place, then there won't be any food the next time you go to the store because the store is gone. So there's all the ways that this can go badly, very quickly. And that's reality. It's all tied to reality. The heat can destroy your food supply. The heat can destroy your logistics. The heat can destroy your electric grid. The heat can cause a drought. The heat can cook your brain and your skull. The heat can cause people not to be able to go to work. The heat can cause businesses to fail and to close. And the shelves not be stocked at the store. And then you run out of water. And then you have nothing. Yeah, maybe you have a car. Maybe it's got a tank of gas. Maybe you can hit the highway. How far do you get? How far do you get before the highway becomes choked with cars all having the same thing, same idea you're having? Do you even get a quarter mile out of town before you hit a huge traffic jam? And somewhere in that traffic jam, there's enough cars that ran out of gas, overheated, the drivers got frustrated and had a big fist fight. Somewhere in that traffic jam is enough cars stalled, stopped, crossed up in the road that traffic is never going forward. Never. Not in the history of ever. And then you have to get out and you have to walk. And that's reality. And could your government have saved you from that? Maybe. But they weren't ever asked to face reality. No one asked them to because no one wanted to deal with it. And could your banks and financial institutions save you from that outcome? They were never asked to deal with reality. And could your preachers and popes and cardinals and imams, could they help you or have helped you with all this? No, because they're detached from reality. But reality is real. And it doesn't matter if these people are detached from reality. You can't be. You cannot be detached from reality. And maybe you want to be. Maybe that's how you are now. Maybe that feels comfortable for you. Maybe that's what's fun. But you can't be that way. 999 people out of 1,000 are probably going to die sometime in the next 30 years. Some places will go first. Jamaica, Iran, Malaysia, India. Some places will go first. It's going to come for all of us. Somewhere along the line, 999 people out of 1,000 are going to be broken off by reality. Probably heat. Probably global heat. From global heating. It's right there in the title, folks. Believe what you want. Believe whatever you like. Physics doesn't care. The atmospheric dynamics give no shits what you think. Global heating is real. It's not a hoax. It's not caused by the Chinese. It's not caused by HAARP. It's not caused by chemtrails or aliens or space lasers or anything else. It just is. We did this. We did this to ourselves. We're still doing it to ourselves. We're not going to stop. We will stop, or at least slow down, when 999 out of 1,000 of us have perished. That will put a kibosh on business as usual. And then what kind of business comes after that? Well, that'll be up to the survivors, won't it? I wrote a book. The book's title is It Was 100 Days. It's available on Amazon. Link in the description. And it's about the story of the survivors and how they did it. It is not a dramatic retelling of the people who do not survive, because they have no story. They're just gone. Where'd they go? Nobody knows. What happened to them? Nobody knows. They made a mistake. They thought they had a handle on things. They believed they had a handle on things. They believed the government when the government told them not to worry. They believed their boss when the boss said, come into work. They believed that their money in their bank account was real. They believed when they went to church and the preacher said, pray to God and God will uphold the righteous and God will rapture the true believers. And they believed. And then when the day came, it didn't save them. None of it saved them. The money didn't save them. Their car didn't save them. Government, politics, voting for the right party didn't save them. The culture wars didn't save them. Winning the culture wars didn't save them. Having all the guns didn't save them. Because of physics. And you can criticize me for being a downer. You can claim that I'm lying and I'm making it all up. I guess we'll see, won't we? Because if I'm right, you will. And my advice to you is keep an eye on things. And when I tell you that Iran is probably a week away from being a failed state with a massive fatality event on their hands, when I tell you that, you may want to start monitoring the headlines. What's happening in Iran? Did they figure it out? Did they fly in the 15 million gallons of water daily and distribute it and figure it out? Did they do that? 15 million gallons is a lot of gallons. How many cargo ships is that? Did they figure it out? Someday, the headlines will be closer to home. And that's when you have to start paying real close attention to reality. And you can't deny it. And you can't say that I'm a doomer. You could if you want to. You can't say it isn't real. You can't say it's a hoax. It's the headlines. And scientists have been trying to tell you, and everyone else, that this is coming. This is going to be bad. And the only mistake they've made is they have made it out to be not as bad as it really is. They too are afraid. They too have faith that someone is going to fix this before it gets as bad as it's really going to get. That they can say things that are not going to be frightening, and that people won't be afraid, and they'll be invited back to talk again someday because they didn't say scary things. I'm here to say scary things. I'm here to tell you you're going to die because 999 people out of 1,000 are likely going to die. And that's a lot of people, and that's going to sweep up a lot of people. Who's that going to be? Well, if you're paying attention and you're watching the headlines and you're not sweeping it under the old rug, then maybe it isn't you. And I think the distinction is the people who take it seriously are most likely to survive it. But 999 people out of 1,000 just aren't going to take it seriously. They're not doing it now, and they won't do it in the future because they believe something else. Don't let your beliefs get in the way of your reality. Don't do it. Don't. And if you're talking to your neighbors, bring it up. What do you think we should do? I don't know. You got any ideas? Everyone's going to be afraid. When this thing starts to roll into your town, everyone's going to be looking, and they're going to be looking left at this guy, right at that guy. They're going to be saying, is this guy going to do something? What am I supposed to do? Does anybody have an idea? Is this real? Is this a hoax? Is this happening? You got any ideas? I got nothing. How about you? You got an idea? No? Okay, that's what they're going to be doing. Looking around. What are you going to do? Got any plans? That's what's going to happen. You know it as well as I do. Standing on the corner, with your arms crossed. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think this was supposed to happen. Did you know this was going to happen? How long has it been since any of us have had water? I hadn't had water for 2 days. The water was coming out of my tap was brown. It was all sludgy. I wasn't going to drink that. Does anybody have a filter I could borrow? What are we going to do? That day is coming. And if it isn't the water, then it's going to be ironically enough, the floods, or it's going to be the hurricane, or it's going to be the typhoon, or it's going to be the crop failures, or it's going to be the refugee crisis, some of whom will be Persians. It's coming. It's here. It's not going away. It only gets worse. We are not doing anything to save ourselves from this. Not now, not in the past, and probably not in the future. Will we ever? I doubt it. I don't think we have our heads out of our asses enough to do anything about this to save ourselves. I don't think we can do it. So, your responsibility, should you choose to accept it, is to make sure that you are not one of the 999 out of 1,000. You could possibly, you could do that for yourself. And if you find enough people of a like mind standing out in the street with their arms crossed, well, this is the day, isn't it? Yep, it finally happened. I didn't think it would. It finally happened. Well, here we are. La-dee-da. What do you want to do? Got any ideas? When that day comes and you're standing out on the corner with your neighbors and there's more neighbors coming because they see what you're doing, you got your arms crossed and you're talking, and they're going to come across the street and they're going to say, hey, what are you guys talking about? Yeah, well, just imagine. Yeah, I was thinking about this too. What's going on? I don't really know. The government isn't saying anything. They keep saying it's going to be fine, but I don't think this is fine. Anybody got any ideas? Yeah, I think we should try to save ourselves. Maybe. How do you do that? What resources do we have? Where do we have to go? Do we have to go somewhere? Do we have to do something? Can we stay here? Can we pull together? These are the questions that people are going to be having. And those are the right questions. Those are the questions, people. Not, the government will save us. Not, I'm going to go home and pray. That is not the answer. Reality is coming for you. And reality doesn't give a shit. Some questions, comments in the chat. Ray, welcome back. I'm choosing some plants right now, and I'm here to listen. Good for you. I'm glad to hear it. I'm printing money right now. Well, good luck with that. We have a responsibility to ourselves and to our neighbors. So, and not because of some brotherly love or something like that, but because your neighbors are who is going to be there at your back when you need help. And when you have help to give to people, they will take it and they will look at you with gratitude and you will be part of their world. And we're going to have to rebuild the world out of the ashes of what is currently on fire, because it is on fire. And if you live in Iran or Jamaica or Southeast Asia or the U.S. Midwest, you understand what I'm saying. Your world is on fire. If not literally, then certainly figuratively. And once the world is on fire, all people are going to have is each other. That's it. And the most important thing any of us can do is to find our neighbors, try and create a relationship, and try to be real. And if it's scary, be scared. If it's off-putting, then prepare to buckle up. If you're not sure that you are positioned to survive this, then think about that. Think about what you have to do. Do you have to be somewhere else? Or maybe not even that. Maybe you just have to do the work between your ears. Just get into a mindset where you can work with people, you can provide help, you can be there for people, you can provide the rescues, you can share food, you can share skills, you can share support. And that's the work we all have to do now. How to be present to other people so that when the wheels come off, that we don't die. I should think. What else can you do? In the end, that's all you're going to have is each other. That's it. And maybe you have some food, and maybe you have some technology, maybe you have a gun, maybe you have a dog, maybe you have a bunker, whatever. But still, what we really have is each other. And in the book, again, link in the description, I discuss in 250 pages how people turn that corner. And part of turning the corner is really easy. You have to do it. Some parts of it are really hard, and not everybody does it. Or not everybody does it in time. Or not everybody does it in a way that's resilient. They try and they fail. And that is the work of the moment. I think that's the work we all have to do. I think that the people who do that work, who do the outreach in their community, who talk to their neighbors ahead of time, who talk about the wheels coming off, that's doing the work. And when the wheels do come off, then those people will remember you, and you will remember those people, and you'll remember the conversations you had with them, and you'll go to the door and you'll knock on the door. Hey, is now a good time to talk? And they'll probably say, yeah, it is a good time to talk. Come inside. And that's how it starts. That's how it starts. That's you. That's you and them, your neighbors, the people up and down your street, standing out in the street talking. That's how it starts. And then you pull together. And then you build a village. And you bring more people into the village. And you discover that you have skills, and you have tools, and you have seeds, and you have ideas. And now you have a vibrant village. And now you have a plan of attack. And what is the goal? Survival. The goal is not to rebuild civilization. This shit's over. This is done, okay? Global heating is going to put a stake in the heart of this. Your responsibility is to survive and to bring as many people along as you can. And if you were on the Titanic and the Titanic had hit an iceberg, your responsibility is not to keep the Titanic from sinking or even to finish your dinner. Your responsibility is to get your butt on a lifeboat and your family and anybody who's a friend of yours, and get on that lifeboat and launch that lifeboat and make sure you have things on that lifeboat that will sustain you through the difficult days ahead until you find yourself in a better situation. And for some people, that will work. For some people, it won't work. Bad luck, bad people, bad timing. But for some, it will. And of course, if nobody tries, then it doesn't work for anybody. And who is it going to be? That's what you have to think about. Because you want that to be you. I want that to be me. And what am I willing to do to make that happen? That's the work you have to do. And if you lived in Iran right now, you'd be doing that work. If you lived in Jamaica right now, you're doing that work. If you live in Southeast Asia right now, you're doing that work. They get to go first. At least they're surrounded. Jamaica is surrounded by sympathetic nations. Jamaica is part of the British Commonwealth. They could be getting all kinds of help from the rest of the Commonwealth. But once this becomes a widespread problem, it is global, then that help may not be coming. So the ones who get to go first, to some extent, they're better off. They get help. The ones who get to go later, they may not be so lucky. And how you respond to that is actually up to you. And what you need is a healthy relationship with reality, the real world. And you keep coming back here to this station, you're going to get a snoot full of reality. So that's what I got for you today. Again, I've got no beef with religion. I got no beef with politics or economics either. You just need to understand they're not real. They're just not. They're convenient. And they give some organizational power, especially economics and politics, but they're not real. They're just a bunch of agreements. And it goes out the window when reality shows up and starts knocking things down. Keep that in mind. And again, like and subscribe. Come back here once in a while. I do this, and yeah, we're going to shake it up, right? And as usual, between now and when you find your place in the world, don't die.